Donald Trump demanded Iran's unconditional surrender. Well, he has just surrendered unconditionally to Iran. This MOU offers Iran extraordinary concessions just to even come to the table to negotiate peace. And by the way, this 60 days is not going to be 60 days. Mark my words. For 20 years, the American people have made one thing clear. We do not want another war in the Middle East. That's why as soon as this conflict began, I started working with Democrats in Congress to force vote after vote to end this conflict. Just recently, we were finally able to gain enough Republican support to begin to hold this administration accountable.
Well, the Senate just voted to check President Trump's authority as it relates to the war powers, with the Democrats and a few Republicans telling the president to either end the war with Iran or get sign-off from Congress.
On this motion, the yeas are 50, the nays are 48. The concurrent motion is agreed to.
It does not go to the president's desk. It is just a symbolic vote, but it is a rebuke of the president's authorities on the Iran war.
Now they say they're ending this war, but all they are doing is opening a strait that was already open to begin with. Look, this was entirely predictable. Trump was warned it would happen, but he went ahead anyway. Now Trump and Rubio are desperate to get the strait open. And I asked Secretary Rubio just how much he was willing to give the Iranian regime to open the strait.
The Strait of Hormuz was open before this unjustified war. We're now scrambling to try to find a way to get it back opened again. Not only is it causing economic havoc to our country and to residents all around this nation, families trying to make ends meet, but you see on top of that, the Iranians finding ways to leverage that, as we allowed them to do with the Chinese for tens of billions of dollars. And so my point is, before we even get to a nuclear negotiation, this regime is getting money to rebuild, purchase more drones, cause more havoc.
Now, you may remember that there used to be a deal with Iran, a deal carefully put together by the Obama administration to verifiably prevent them from building a nuclear weapon, and to avoid exactly the kind of military conflict we're in now. Trump, in his own words, tore up that deal, and Secretary Rubio, then a senator, said the deal was a terrible mistake.
And so I want to be recorded for history's purposes, if nothing else, to say that those of us who opposed this deal understood where it would lead, and we are making a terrible mistake.
So I pressed Secretary Rubio after 14 American service members have been killed and hundreds injured, billions spent, prices soaring, our military facilities and our allies across the region attacked, and Trump's lifting of an estimated $14 billion worth of Iran sanctions for nothing in return. What are we getting now that is better or wasn't even in the original deal?
Apologize, I don't understand how they're getting this. What revenue are you referring to?
Well, there's two sources of revenue we're seeing. One is the revenue from the Chinese, that's factually documented. And number two, the revenue that you're proposing that they should receive by releasing all of their highly enriched uranium, as well as in making a commitment about their enrichment capacities.
Yeah.
Hold on. And that was the exact deal that you guys vilified, that the president and you vilified President Obama from having.
As you can see, Secretary Rubio started to get uncomfortable when I laid out these facts. He and Trump are failing to make the American people safer. And Iran is now in a stronger negotiating position than before this conflict began. This is when Senate Republicans decided to try and shut down my questioning.
Yeah, no,
So
I
here
don't
we
think
have
those are
a
not the
worse situation where
Those are not the same
our
deal.
adversary and our enemy, who's causing havoc in the region, who is funding proxies and terrorists, has discovered, thanks to you all, the power of shutting down the Strait of Hormuz.
No, they didn't
which
discover.
is
They
all-
knew that a long time ago, and they've done it before.
Clearly, we all knew that a long time ago. That's why this
And they intended to do this at
ill-conceived
some point
war
in the
should have
future
never
as well.
happened.
Yeah, but
You have made our adversary in a stronger negotiating position. We are the strongest nation on the planet Earth, and we're in a stalemate with Iran. And now we're begging to get back into a deal that you all
We're not
trashed
begging.
in the first place.
there's no one begging. I don't know.
Clearly, this is a
Senator Booker, your time's up.
Now the administration has released the details of this MOU, and Trump's war is going to continue to cost us, the American people.
Now to Iran. President Trump and his deal with Iran tonight. U.S. officials now revealing what Iran is set to get when they open the Strait of Hormuz. And tonight, some Republicans in Washington already angry. One saying Ronald Reagan would be rolling over in his grave, calling this the worst foreign policy blunder in decades.
So did Trump deliver a deal that benefits the American people? Was all this money, the loss of American lives, worth it? What did Trump get for it?
He called in the early days of this war for unconditional surrender of Iran. He called for regime change. He said they could not have a nuclear weapon. Is any of that achieved in this memorandum of understanding?
No, not in any way, shape, or form. It's essentially an agreement to reopen the Strait of Hormuz on Iran's terms. Iran will be able, there's some language in there that they basically can't charge this toll that they've talked about for so long. This gives them immense power. Trump said if they don't, go along with the negotiations the way we want, we're going to start bombing them again. What will they do if we start bombing them? Close the Strait of Hormuz. And the bombing didn't work.
Donald Trump spent a decade attacking Obama's Iran deal, branding $1.7 billion in relief, pallets of cash handed to a terror regime. Trump's own Iran deal hands Tehran a $300 billion reconstruction fund, plus at least $24 billion in frozen assets, plus sanction relief up front, letting Iran sell their oil for billions more on the open market. Don't forget, American taxpayers already paid more than $70 billion for this war. Working families paid billions more for gas and other war inflation costs, and 14 American service members gave their lives. So, is this war really over? When I pressed Secretary Rubio on this very question, he maintained it was. But after he claimed it was over, then we continued to target Iran, and an American helicopter was even shot down in the Strait.
You keep telling us how we're winning this war. The president keeps saying,
Well, the war's over
completely
now.
annihilated. The war is not over. And yet the American people see how we're losing at the pump and with their costs, and yet this thing still hasn't been resolved. Every day he tweets out, oh, we've obliterated them, we've annihilated them, they're going to surrender. But yet we still find ourselves spending billions of dollars a week
Senator
on
Booker,
a war abroad.
you've gone way over. And
It would be nice if we had hearings where people
Thank
had
you,
to be held
Senator
accountable.
Booker.
I've laid it all out so you can see for yourself. Is this war over, as Trump and Rubio say, or are American service members still being put in harm's way? Is this war over, or are you still having to pay astronomical prices at the gas pump and the grocery store? Is this war over, or is this administration and a Republican-controlled Congress refusing to provide proper oversight and accountability for the American people? I'm going to keep fighting every day to bring a real end to this crisis, to bring a real end to this misguided war that makes the American people less safe and keeps driving up our costs. But we need your voices too. Now is the time to stand up and speak up. Hey everyone, Senator Booker here. I wanted to thank you so much for watching. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let me know, what do you want to see me cover in future videos? What questions do you have about the work we're doing in the Senate or what we are doing to fight against Trump? If you're not already, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.